The desert wind whipped around Sergeant Miller, carrying the scent of sand and something else, something acrid, alien. The sun baked the landscape, but Miller remained cool, his movements precise, economical, honed by decades of training in the art of shadow. Cresting the dune, he surveyed the scene below. A horde of scrawny, bipedal aliens, their scaled forms a mottled mix of tans and browns, scavenging across the sands. Their high-pitched chattering filled the air, a nervous symphony of the hunt. Direct confrontation is suicide, Miller assessed, his mind already calculating angles, shadows, and escape routes. His training, the brutal, relentless drills that had shaped him, kicked in. He was a ghost, a whisper in the wind. He dropped to a low crouch, his weight balanced, and began his descent. Not a clank of armor, not a misplaced footfall. He moved with the fluidity of a predator, anticipating every possible action from the horde. They weren't his primary threat. His mission was, and that meant evading unnecessary battles. As he neared the aliens, he utilized the terrain. A jutting rock formation offered cover. Miller rolled a smooth, silent tumble, disappearing behind the rocks. He peeked around the edge, the aliens oblivious, their attention consumed by some trinket they'd uncovered in the sand. He could smell them now, the sulphurous tang that clung to their scales, and a faint, musky odor that made his lip curl. He moved along the rocks like a phantom, keeping low, using the sun and shadows as his allies. The training surged through him, the countless hours in simulations, in the harshest terrains, all leading up to this moment. His movements were fluid, almost artistic, a deadly dance of concealment. Suddenly, a high-pitched shriek pierced the air. One of the aliens had caught a glimpse of movement, a flicker in the sunlight. Miller froze. Adrenaline surged. This was the critical point, the moment where instinct and training collided. He didn't hesitate. In a single fluid motion, he rolled, his body a blur, disappearing again, this time behind a cluster of smaller, more rugged rocks. The aliens' screeches grew frantic. He could hear them scurrying, their tiny claws scrabbling against the sand as they sought their prey. He pressed himself against the cool rock, his breathing slow and controlled. He let them search, let them expend their energy. He knew they were close, their combined scent reaching his nose, but he remained utterly still. Slowly, the clamor began to die down. The aliens, their attention span short, their curiosity easily diverted, started to lose interest. Their chattering and rustling sounds receded as they resumed their scavenging. Now, Miller thought. With a controlled exhale, he pushed himself up, then silently weaved through the rocks. His footfalls were absorbed by the sand, his silhouette invisible against the harsh sunlight. He was a shadow, a phantom, moving among the dunes. He slipped past the horde, a dark whisper in the bright desert. The aliens were nothing more than a minor inconvenience, another obstacle overcome. The memory of the training took over. He now entered a new phase. As he crested the next dune, Drop Pod 1 came into view, battered but intact. A wave of relief washed over him, followed by a renewed determination. He was one step closer. The memory of the alien horde was fading, replaced by the focus needed to reach his comrades and prepare for what lay ahead.